We got Lake Hylia in the south here. We got the Lost Woods in the southeast. We got Zora's River and Zora's Domain directly east. Kakariko Village and Goron City and Death Mountain in the northeast. Hyrule Castle, kind of center north. Gerudo Desert, or Gerudo's Valley into the west. And then you have Hyrule Field in the center. In Breath of the Wild, which is a huge map, you have so here's Hyrule Castle. Here's like what Hyrule Field would have been. Though you do have like Temple of Time over here, which is pretty different from here because Temple of Time's like right there. But I don't want to get too much into that because one, Nintendo has already stated that they're not like sticklers about geography, obviously. And that having the maps change just makes the game more interesting. Which totally understandable.
They suit the game to gameplay.
Yes.
And they suit the map to the geography to gameplay.
Yes. But, there are some consistencies throughout the series. So, like, for example, you have the Gerudo Desert over here. You have some, like, I think this is a jungle over here. You have Death Mountain up in the northeast again. Zora's Domain directly east again. I think Kakariko's like right here. No, it's over here actually. Kakariko's actually kind of in a because Kakariko historically would have been closer to Death Mountain, but I think it's like over here, isn't it? Because this is the Twin Peaks right here, with the river going right through it. Because like you go do the Great Plateau, you kind of go down this way. So I think Kakariko's. Oh, I think this right here. Yeah, that's Kakariko right there. And so it's like not a 1-to-1, but that's fine, And hey, this is like way in terms of like timeline. This is like way down the line. This is like 10,000 years post the first Great Calamity, which probably was like significantly after Ocarina of Time, anyways. In fact, my personal guess is that it's probably 10,000 years, but that's a different idea I have in my head that I don't have a ton of evidence for, other than it would make sense in my head. But that's me. And then over here you have like this kind of snowy area, which matches this map, which I don't have, like I couldn't find a decent one that like showed like environments very well. At least I couldn't find one very quickly. But this is the Twilight Princess map. And so you have Hyrule Fields just kind of surrounding Hyrule Castle, which is centered in this map. You have a forested area kind of in the south, and you have Death Mountain and Kakariko Village in the east. You have the Gerudo Desert in the west, and you have the Snow Peak region in the northwest as well. Which, this correlates perfectly to Snow Peak right here, like really, really well. So your broad geographic strokes are like roughly the same, but you may have noticed that I left one kind of thing off when I was describing Twilight Princess. I didn't describe where the Zora are, because do you remember where the Zora are in this game?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay, so the Zora's Domain is right here at the very north, which is in pretty stark contrast to where it is here and where it is here. Because if you look because like in this map, you don't actually have anything north of Hyrule Castle here, so there's just like nothing there. And then on this map, what's north of Hyrule Castle? Basically nothing. It's certainly not the Zora's Domain. So that's a little bit weird. So I was kind of thinking about that, like, wait, why is it that in the era of Twilight, Zora's Domain is in a complete, like, not just like a kind of different place, because like, sure, things could shift around. Like I pointed out here, like Kakariko is actually like further south and kind of away from Death Mountain, but like, lots of time has passed, and but it's still like kind of this side of the map, right?
Yeah.
This is like pretty significant difference. It's like nowhere near Death Mountain and nowhere near Kakariko. In fact, it's not even in the same direction relative to Hyrule Castle. It's a completely different direction. And it's very specifically situated right next to Snow Peak, which if we were to say this mountain range over here is the Snow Peak Mountains, would place Zora's Domain around here. And to be fair, in this region, which I won't tell you what this is because I know you haven't gotten here yet, and there is something important here. But this may be where Zora's domain was, somewhere around here, if we were to kind of place the Twilight era here. And then Snow Peak is right here. You have this like connection right here. That could be like the same type of connection right here. Sorry, what?
It hitched for a second.
Oh, okay. How much did it hitch? Kelvin, I need you to respond to me because you're starting to alarm me.
My internet, it's my internet being fucky.
It's your internet, okay. Okay, so my stream is yeah, no, I mean, internet speed test is looking great. So it's your internet that's acting up. Okay. So I guess if anyone's watching the stream right now or is on the VOD, they should be getting everything. Okay. Anyways, so let me continue my thoughts then. So we have the Snow Peak land connection right here between Zora's domain and the Snowy Mountains, and we kind of have something like that here as well. But what's weird is that Zora's domain is back here instead of up here. So I'm like thinking, okay, Zora's domain in Ocarina of Time is over here. Then some time passes, an unknown amount of time passes. We're in the era of Twilight. Zora's domain is no longer over here, it is now up here. Then, at least 10,000 years pass, and Zora's domain is back here, and no longer up here. So I'm like trying to think, what happened to create that type of shift? What kinds of things could have happened, either historically or like geologically or geographically? What could have happened to cause that? Like, for example, Gorons have very consistently been here. Like here, Gorons are right there. Goron City is in Death Mountain. Here, the Goron City, Death Mountain. Here, Goron City, Death Mountain. Okay? And then Hyrule Castle, centered. Hyrule Castle, centered. Hyrule Castle, I guess north, but like relative to Death Mountain, consistent. Okay. So, Gorons haven't really changed that dramatically. Hylians haven't really changed that dramatically in terms of where they're existing geographically. There's minor differences here and there. So I was like, what's going on? But I thought about something. There's something else that's significantly different about the climate in Twilight Princess. Because in the Death Mountain and Kakariko region, do you remember what type of climate it is in Twilight Princess?
In the Kakariko region?
Yes.
Shit, I haven't even booted that game up in like a month.
Well, no. In Twilight Princess, do you remember what it's like?
Kakariko. It's like deserty.
If I
remember correctly. Yeah.
Kind of like the Southwest U.S. Kind of like here, right?
Yeah. Like there's plants. Just
yeah, but it's very distinctly deserty. It kind of has like these canyons that we expect in like Arizona and like the region around here. But you look at Breath of the Wild, the region south of Death Mountain is kind of wetlands. In Ocarina of Time, Kakariko Village is a very cozy village with lots of grass and greenery. Zora's River flows right next to it. So there's a significant climate shift that happens. So I think what happened, because here's the other thing, Zoras do actually have a connection to Kakariko Village in Twilight Princess. But they're not there anymore. I think what happened is that there was some kind of climate shift. And this region temporarily became desert-like. And so like the Zora's domain of Ocarina of Time dried up. And the Zoras couldn't live there anymore. So they sought out new waters. And they found the waters north, right next to Snow Peak, to be much more reliable. And so I'm like thinking, well, okay, what could have caused that? What could have caused that? And like, well, maybe some of it could be like the snow melt off of Snow Peak was just much more reliable, and you get less snow melt further south and over in this region. And if we look at this map, we can see that there's an ocean out this way, right? or at least some kind of significant sea or body of water. And so I'm like thinking, you know what else could be happening? Maybe there's a shift in air currents. Because one thing that creates rain shadow effect, or one thing that creates deserts is a rain shadow effect. So like for example, here in the Gerudo Desert, you see that very strongly. You have this huge ass mountain range right here, and this is present as well in Twilight Princess, and here in Ocarina of Time. There's clearly an implied mountain range of sorts. And so yeah, on this side of the mountain range, it's very wet and lush. On this side, it's very dry. So that would suggest that, you know, you're creating a rain shadow effect. So like rains come down this way, and they hit this side of the mountain, and you get tons of wet greenery over here, and you get like nothing over here. So I'm like thinking, it's like, well, you know, Kakariko in all of these instances is kind of situated around some mountains. Like here you have this big mountain right here, and you have just kind of this mountainous region in general over here in Breath of the Wild. In Ocarina of Time, yeah, these kind of Zora's River seems to be kind of embedded into a mountain as well. So yeah, that could be, and it's not too far from Death Mountain, which again is kind of the case here. And then over here, like, you go into the Kakariko region, again, it looks kind of just mountainous and stuff. So what may have happened is that maybe at one point in time, you had like some air currents that were coming in, like, you know, off the coast, like maybe kind of north or from the north or something, and hitting and dropping water this way before they hit these significant mountains or something like that. Or maybe it came in more of an angle like this or something, but it most likely came off the coast and dropped off rain like this, and that would kind of line up if, in general, if it's kind of going like this, it hits this mountain range, creates a big rain shadow, but the rest of Hyrule gets water. That would kind of make sense. So that might be the general air current flow. And here in Ocarina of Time, that kind of logic would still make sense. You would still expect to have some kind of air current flow going like this, leaves a ton of water and rain for the forest and for the river and for the lake. But it gets cut off by the mountains before it hits the Gerudo Desert.
Yeah.
So while the rain shadow effect for Gerudo's Desert is still definitely in effect here, we're not like seeing a reversal. There may have been some kind of monsoonal type shift, but like long-term shift, or at least long enough term to create this type of climate that caused enough of a shift in this region to no longer be dropping enough rain over here. So like maybe perhaps, you know, the rain was going generally from here to here in terms of air currents, but maybe there's enough of a micro shift in the air currents here that it kind of maybe shifted further down and was like hitting like this mountain or something like that. Like maybe there's an air current that comes up this way from the south and goes up into Hyrule from here. So as you get like the general northeast to southwest air currents that go across the general Hyrule, maybe there was one that was going from southeast, kind of northeast, and it kind of mixes in with the general air currents, and then kind of joins in, hitting the wall that is the Gerudo Desert Mountains. So what may have happened is that this air current may have like caused some kind of an interference down here in this oceanic region that may have caused air currents that were kind of dropping rain here to kind of maybe divert back into the ocean or redirect right into these mountains, and therefore miss this region that Zora's domain was existing in. And that's why this region is more desert-like. Therefore, the Zoras had to search for new sources of water. They found that the air currents were still like beneficial enough around here to drop rain to north of Hyrule Castle, and they benefited from the snow melt from the Snow Peak region. And that's why they settled there. And then, you know, 10,000 plus years pass by, the air currents shift back into the way that they were before, and they're getting plenty of rain here again. And it's just much more lush and much more comfortable for them, so they move back.